introduction. We're sitting
Hello,
on
my
Mermaid
loves.
Avenue.
Welcome to the Lion's Den. Today's topics will be about investing in your own community. And today we have DJ Jazzy, and she was going to give us some insight on her information about investing in your own community. DJ Jazz, what's your take on investing in your own community in the sight of Nipsey Hussle investing in his community and it took his life?
Okay, we're gonna go to this Nipsey Hussle person first because I just heard of him yesterday.
No, but it's just about investing in your community.
I believe you should do what you feel will make you happy in life. Investing in your community is a great thing, especially if you have something profound to say. If you have a particular topic, whether it was for the children, the elderly, just bringing diversity into your neighborhood, because in so-called ghettos in New York City, the majority of the people who live here are people of color, but they own nothing, possibly the homes. But that's it. They have no stores. We have Popeyes, T-Mobile, Dunkin' Donuts, Rite Aid, and at least 8 other establishments across the street from us. And I do not believe any of them are run by a person of color. To my knowledge, no. Possibly the dollar store, and they are brown folk, but they're immigrants. No disrespect to immigrants, but we have brown people right here in the United States who complain about immigrants coming in and taking everything. They're not taking anything from us. We're giving it to them by not utilizing the resources ourselves. I can talk randomly on and on and on and on. Ask me a question. What specifically do you want to know? Good
What
morning.
are some of the, why do you feel that African Americans, when they get successful, don't invest back in their own community?
Wow. I've never thought about that. That's a question I never thought about. That I don't know, honestly. I can't even imagine why they wouldn't do it. I've always dreamed of putting a dome over Kaiser Park. That's one of the first things I would do once I make my first billion.
Do you feel that your community will accept it? Because everybody else is investing in communities and their businesses are thriving, but when it comes down to when we invest in our community, it's like we take each other down.
Well, unfortunately, that's the black man's plight. A lot of us are still stuck within the so-called slave mentality. I don't understand it personally, being that our poor people here in New York City would be considered middle class in many other countries. I mean, we have everything we need. You could literally lose your millions today and go to the government and have it built back up within 6 months. So I don't know why black people really don't invest in the community. I think Coney Island is a special case because we are so diverse. Mm-hmm. You can't really call us a black community. We've never been just a black community. I grew up in Coney Island, and I went to school with Jews, Arabs, Africans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, so we've always been diverse.
But we don't own anything.
And we own nothing. There have been a few who tried and failed because the community didn't support them for whatever reason. I don't know why they didn't. So we don't have a soul food restaurant in Coney Island. We have Golden Crust, but that's a corporation. That's just a franchise of a corporation. We don't have a soul food restaurant. We had one some years back. A girl I knew, she grew up in Coney Island houses. And she just wasn't supported. People complained about the prices. It's like, dude, if you want, 6 pounds of chicken for $3, then you go to Popeyes. You want...
Okay, so what about the $1 billion beauty supply business? Do you think that we should be like gathering our money to make our own? Because
I think black women should appreciate and love being black women. Maybe I'm talking from a standpoint of not having traditionally black features and hair, but I get sick of seeing women with weave. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the weave. The eyelashes gotta go. I mean, fine, you get your nails and your toes done, but realistically, where are you going with dragon claws? No, I think we should be investing in things that truly pertain to our neighborhood, like the development of our children. That's where we always have to start. I was hands-on when my children were in public school, up until high school. A lot of parents don't do that. You have to get involved with the children. You look at kids nowadays, well, later for the kids. Let's look at the teenagers and the 20-somethings.
Okay, so how do you feel about, like, it's a Chinese restaurant on every block, but they still, we got a liquor store almost on every block.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chinese restaurants almost on every block, and we got beauty supply stores on almost on every block. But again, we still own nothing. So is our community really poor community, or we just have poor spending habits?
Oh, that's a definite. Black people definitely have poor spending habits. This is a low to mid-income neighborhood, but just walking down the street of the 20-somethings and 30-somethings, majority of them have a $200 sneakers, $200 belts.
Oh, $1,000 sneakers.
But yet you live in the project. I don't care if you
For a
live
pair of
in a
Yeezys.
so-called private building. You live in a low to mid-income neighborhood, and you're spending $200 on sneakers and complaining how you can't get ahead in life because things are keeping you back. One is education. I don't believe college is for everyone. There are different ways to be educated. These children walk around literally with computers in their pockets and don't know the history, let alone of the United States, but of Black Americans. And it's disgusting. I think we are just we disenfranchise ourselves at this point. There's no reason for us collectively to be held back. We are the only group of people in this country who don't stick together on a constant basis. And it's sad. Every immigrant group, they save their money and they send for more of their people to come here. Why are they doing this? Because they know it's a better way of life. Here, we're born into it and we don't help each other. We don't start businesses. And when we do, like I said, unfortunately, the majority of us don't support the businesses, so they fail.
Do you think when we do, because we did have a couple of soul food restaurants out here,
Mm-hmm.
you do think when we do have a business that we don't support one another? Because all of us eat soul food
Right.
in some type of way, form, or fashion. But,
Regardless of culture and color.
right, but we still had our soul food places closed, but the Chinese restaurants is still open.
Because it's quick, easy, and cheap. That's why. Our brief discussion earlier, we were talking about, flirting. Just, yes, you do things for practicality of it.
So we don't take care of our own.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. I mean, all you have to do is look at the state of the country. The Black Lives Matters was a beautiful way to get black people together, but it's not going to work because unfortunately black people need a leader. We can't have different leaders. We don't know who to follow.
So do you think, like with Nipsey Hussle and him, or is it a problem when we have our own businesses and we give our own people jobs? Do you think that the other races have a problem with that? Because do you feel that he was right to invest in his community because he grew up on that block?
Of course he was right to invest in his community. I mean, I don't see how you can possibly see that it was wrong. And as far as believing that other groups of people would think it's wrong for him to hire his own, who cares? He didn't care. That's what we have to stop doing, worrying about what people think.
Because now from his death, do you think that now successful black people, a lot of them, they feel like, we don't take care of our own, and why should I give back? Because, that's what they're saying. This is why when we get rich, we don't support our community, we don't come back to our community. Because this is the only area where business is thriving, but we don't even have a community center. mean,
This
we
is
don't.
true.
A lot of successful black people, they may come back and visit, like our famous or our two basketball players, but they have not invested.
And like I said, that's because but that's not their job. It is not their job to, in my opinion, to ensure that the community continues to thrive once they're gone. No, it is the community's job.
Yeah, but we're speaking upon investing. So, do you feel like because
Is the community
of,
reaching out?
Exactly.
It's the community's job in the long run. It's the community's job. There are thousands of millionaire black Americans who, by law, have to, give their money, a certain percentage to charity. So they are giving their money to what they feel close to their hearts. But I don't believe once you leave the community, it is still your job to take care of the community. If you do it, that is wonderful.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's
you
ultimately
have-
the people who live in the community to get off their butts and to raise heck about what they feel they need for themselves and their loved ones. Why don't we have a community center? Maybe because the people aren't going out to these town hall meetings and knew ahead of time that, the city was selling city land to private corporations. You would have known this. You could have made more of a fuss. Personally, me, I'm a go with the flow type of girl, so I have to pay to live anyway. And I couldn't care about community centers. I'm sorry, neighborhood. But I understand why that is a problem. When I was a child, there was a community center in the development that I grew up in. It was open sun up, sundown. That's where we lived. We knew we'd go to the bathroom, we'd get something to eat, we'd see our friends. These children don't have that. And their parents are not doing anything to change it. It's the community who has to change the community.
So, would you say that it was the community's fault that we don't protect?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Somewhat. I'm not going to say 100%,
Right.
because even if you can go
Mhm.
out there and protest and fight and do what you want, but if you don't have the power and the money, ultimately your words mean nothing.
All
And
right.
that's what we don't have, power and money.
So, the last question for today for this interview with DJ Jazz. And I thank you so much for taking your time out today to give us this interview. She will be back, guys. She will be back. She's a woman of music, but she's taking her time out to speak on this issue. So, did you think that it was a good idea for Nipsey Hussle to invest and to have businesses in his own community?
Of course. Yes, definitely. Whoever the heck he is. I mean, when I first read his name, I'm like, Nipsey
Yeah.
Russell? No, okay. But I think it's a positive thing for anyone to invest in their neighborhood. I mean, Spike Lee still lives in Red Hook or has a home in Red
Fort
Hook.
Greene.
Fort Greene, whatever.
Yeah.
Still Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know, so of course it is. But it's also what you're investing in, what you're bringing to the community. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with there being a liquor store in this quarter, considering this is only one of 2 liquor stores we actually have in Coney Island. That's not a store, that's a supermarket.
No, we got this one. No, we got 4.
Oh, no.
We got this one,
The one on 22nd,
and the one on this side of the block, and the one on.
that's a supermarket on Neptune. That's not a store.
It's a
That's-
supermarket of liquor.
That big one by the, across from the gas station, that's a supermarket.
It's all, but it's
that-
all liquor.
That's a liquor supermarket. That's not a liquor corner store.
Alrighty.
That's when you go and have a party. That's when you go there. Things are needed. Liquor stores are needed. I like a taste once in a while, and it's very convenient. It's up the block.
Only if we have more ownership in our community.
It would be wonderful,
would
but
be
then again,
beautiful.
it's up to the people.
Exactly.
They have to take advantage of the things that we have in this city. The small business loans specifically out there for women of color are unbelievable.
So basically, we need more, like, because they're not going to teach it in school. But do you think that that's some of the things that these kids need to be taught? They're not.
Yes, they should.
They're not.
Which
taught.
goes back to me saying it's the parents' fault.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's horrible, but it
But
ultimately
they're
goes
not
back.
taught to be entrepreneurs.
You don't have to be taught to be an entrepreneur. You have to be exposed to what's out there and know that you can have it. I literally taught my children that they were number one and the world was theirs. If you want it, go get it. As long as it's legal, no one can stop you. The only person who can stop you is you from succeeding. And if you fail, so what? Get up and try again. Nothing beats a failure but a try.
Okay. Any last notes you'd like to give our people?
Positive words that I have for you is to remember the children are our future. You must invest in our children. And it's wonderful to invest in the community and to open stores and to hire our own, as they call it, but it all starts with the children. If you're putting wrong messages into them, our future is done.
Okay, thank you, Ms. DJ Jazz, for coming into the Lioness Den and giving some such valid points here. We out until next time. Peace.